Hi there, good to see you. Welcome to this week's edition of Rifles Rugby Roundtable Roundup. For those of you that aren't familiar with the show, it's essentially your typical midweek rugby talkback show, except it's on a Friday and there's no talkback option, the phones are off, so it's really just a rugby show. So what I've got is myself, Jamo, the voice of CRTV, and joined by a couple of guests that I'll introduce you to shortly. We're going to have a bit of a chat about rifles, the season so far, and try and get the referee's perspective on how they think the competition's going. And perhaps the less people that come in and out that door, the better. We'll start off with a guy who will be familiar to anyone who's had anything to do with rugby in New Zealand or indeed spent any decent stretch of time in any of our nation's fine correctional facilities. You've got to come across the back of Mr. Tony Hargood. TH, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Jamo. Good to see that you refreshed yourself pretty early on in the piece. It is 8 o'clock in the morning.
It is, but, you know, man is not a camel. What's been going on at Rifles? Obviously, if we can just start by talking about the facilities at the club and the work that you guys have done the last couple of years. Obviously, the big one in the public spotlight at the moment is the synthetic turf that some half-wit wrote something bad about last Sunday in the paper.
Oh, did they? I didn't read that. I didn't see that at all. No, the artificial turf is a fantastic investment in the club for all the multi-sports that go on here, plus particularly for rugby as well too. I'd just actually like to say that it was interesting that the person that quoted about the broken leg on the weekend, they actually had a broken leg at Ponsonby at Western Springs last weekend. So, yeah, no, I think there's a bit of myth in that. But, you know, great facility. Yeah,
from my totally unbiased point of view, from an outsider, obviously no affiliation to the club at all, I thought it was just a case of she came up with a good headline and needed to put a story around it. I mean, shots fired at Rifles, haha, boom, why wouldn't you use it, you know?
Well, that's the editors, that's what they get paid for, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's a tabloid paper, and I think we leave it where it is.
Yep. The team itself, of course, last year they won the Jubilee Trophy for the first time since...
it was 35 years, I believe.
35 years. That's this trophy just here, if you can see it behind...
it's a big piece of equipment there.
Might actually just promote it forward if you want to hold that. Yeah. Try and get that. It's heavy. There we go. So there you go. This is the Jubilee Trophy, not to be mistaken with the real one, the Big Boys Trophy. But what do you have to do to win this?
Well, basically what happens in the top 8 competition, if you're the losing finalist in your quarterfinals, you go into the Jubilee Trophy, which we beat Otahu along the way. A tremendous game, actually. I think I mentioned it last week. So we're effectively ranked 5th in the competition in 2010. So this week against Ponsonby, it's 5th versus 1st. This isn't up for grabs, but there's a lot of pride.
5th versus 1st this week?
Yeah, based on last year's rankings.
Oh, right.
Yeah, at the moment.
But based on this year's, it's based on this year, it's pretty much 4th versus 8th. But we can all live in the past. We'll get back to you in a second, Tony. I'll just like to introduce the viewers at home there to our next guest. Now, he's a man that's in the middle, and it'd be fair to say controversial is probably the first word that springs to mind when you think of Chris Peoples, one of Auckland's senior rugby referees. How long have you been in the game, Chris?
In the game since 1996 and refereeing Premier Rugby since 98. Thoroughly enjoy it, although the controversy, as you say, doesn't step too far from the door, but makes it interesting.
That's funny you mentioned controversy. That was just the first word that came into my head. I misread one of my mistakes. Is there something you'd like to tell us about the controversy?
What do you refer, Jamie?
I'm just rolling with it here, mate. Of course, your rugby experience has taken you around the world, up to Hong Kong and Cook Islands, etc.
Yes, it's been fantastic. I mean, I've travelled much further than I would have done if I'd played. Considering my frame, I wouldn't have played too much further than under 12s probably. But in the sense of the refereeing, it's taken me around the world, which has been fantastic and yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. Yeah.
You've last week you called the game Ponsonby versus Suburbs, 27-20 to the Ponies in the end. How, you know, with Rifles playing Ponsonby tomorrow, what's the good oil, mate? Anyone we should keep an eye on?
Oh, I think, I mean, in the sense of both teams, they've got an excellent type 5 in both teams. I mean, an outstanding player in the Ponsonby team is no doubt Rocky Khan. He played last week at fullback, got twinkle toes, and he's got a good ball handling skills, a lot of it sevens. But I've got good oil that there is a forward in the College Rifles team who's a dolphin trainer and a lion tamer. So, I mean, with that pedigree, can't go past Jared Beer.
Yes, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on Bearsy. He indeed crossed the chalk last week, along with his back row partner, Superman. So, no, they're looking good. Thanks for that. Well, I'll just introduce, before I get back to you again, Chris, we'll introduce you to the final bloke at the end of the table here. That's Peter Willis, also another one of Auckland's premier referees. Peter, run us through your CV in 20 words or less, mate.
I only speak in multiples of 50, but we'll try my best. Premier referee, last 8 seasons in Auckland. Like Chris, love what we do, and allows us to travel the world. I've been up to the Cooks as well. I've been to Dubai, refereed there, Hong Kong, Tonga, Samoa. So it's a great opportunity to see some of the world, and Chris is quite right. In fact, greater opportunity refereeing than playing for a lot of guys like us. So certainly enjoy it. Enjoy it every weekend. It's great to be in the middle. Great to be part of the spectacle. And looking forward to refereeing Rifles at some time this season. But we better hurry up, eh?
We've just got a... Yep, go ahead. Why did you guys first get into reffing?
So, is that a phone bidder?
First call.
Fair enough. Got into reffing really just through Chris, actually. Started to referee a bit of kids rugby, and then Chris sort of said, why don't you come along and give it a go for real? And pretty much that's exactly what I did. And here I am now today, one of Auckland's best.
Absolutely.
Yes, as voted by himself. Now, obviously, refereeing at this level is not, you don't get paid a lot. I remember I reffed myself for a couple of years there, and apart from chasing young boys around the paddock, it wasn't all that enjoyable, to be honest. So I flagged it and realised there's no money in it. It's not professional at this level?
No, it's not professional at this level. I didn't get into it for the money's sake of it. Got a good practice that keeps me going there. But in a sense of enjoyment, keeping a hand in the rugby circles, I've always been around rugby, and it's the best seat in the house. Yeah. So realistically, it's just having something to do on the weekend. Saves mowing the lawns.
So what is it that you do for a serious job when your 9 to 5 sort of stuff?
I run a podiatry practice called Auckland Podiatry Group. That was set up in '96. Have a special interest in foot pain, sports injuries that relate to the feet, and that keeps me going, and definitely a lot of injuries through the season, particularly rugby players, as you're well aware. Yep. That's pretty much keeps it going.
From a professional point of view, if you can pass some opinion on the various tracks, obviously the synthetic versus the standard grass track, is there any, from your medical professional point of view, is there any reason why there should be more injuries or less injuries?
I wouldn't have a clue. I think realistically it's just accidents happen. Yeah. I mean, you can be walking down the street and you could have a broken leg, really. So the turf does...
That would be kind of unlucky, if you're just
wouldn't
walking
it? How many beers have you had, though? That's really the key, isn't it, really? But, obviously there's a lot of technology that goes into turf. I don't know it myself offhand, but it's personally from experience of running on that Rifles turf, it's just top class. Yeah. But in the sense of a track like Western Springs, last weekend, that's a beautiful track as well. So, one foot in front of the other, can't go wrong, mate.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And Peter, what about yourself, mate? Do you have a fetish for playing with other guys' feet, or what's your line of business?
I don't have a fetish.
Actually, probably worse than that, Jamo. I actually import and distribute beauty products. Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. I know it's pretty obvious just looking at me, obviously, but I do import beauty products from around the world and supply them to professional beauty salons. So we talk about waxing, tinting, eyelashing, spray tanning, you name it. What I haven't got into actually is hair plugs. And looking down this this panel here, maybe there's definitely a call for it. They say 1 in 4 men go bald, but I think it's 3 out of 4 go. 3 out of 4 go bald, and 1 keeps his hair. So anyway, here comes another question incoming, I think. But yeah, beauty products.
Excellent. And of course, that's Arrow Beauty, match day sponsors, along with the Auckland Podiatry Group.
Grant.
Hang on, mate.
I'll give it to you, mate. I'll ask. Yep, good as gold. All right, good. Sky TV just pulled out the top commentator. I want to know if you're okay to call the game.
I don't sell out to corporates, mate. I've got my sponsors, and that's all we need. So yeah, it's good to have you guys on board sponsoring this week's game. It's obviously much appreciated. The exposure that we're getting through CRTV is going through the
I
roof.
think it's just a fantastic way of actually promoting club rugby again. You know, it's getting it around the world, of course. I think you said mentioned last time there's about 28,000 viewers.
26,863.
There it is on the money. So bring it on. Yeah, fantastic.
Good stuff. Well, hopefully it results in some more business for you guys, which is obviously the best thing for it. Getting back to more important matters, this weekend's game, you've got any predictions? How do you think it's going to go? I'm obviously talking the Crusaders-Reds game.
Oh, I think the Crusaders will get up this weekend. I think it'll be tight. I mean, it's finals rugby. I've picked a 1-12 to the Crusaders, but, you know, who knows?
I think hopefully Caleb Roth get back on the field. The Legion Crusader himself, but he said in the paper that today he's going to be cheering for the Reds. But it'll be a great game, as per at Suncorp. Of course, they had a great game on the Wednesday, the start of Origin, but that's not the game. But, of course, you know, should be great. Didn't see it? No, well.
Wouldn't watch it. No flankers.
Oh, Crusaders, Jamie. I'm not surprised you've even asked this question around the table. This is a...
Well, mate, everyone's...
talk show.
True.
I wanted you to get one right finally, mate. Of course, the big talking point around that game from a referee point of view, Bryce Lawrence got nominated 3-4 weeks ago for the game when they didn't know who the finalists were going to be. As you know, Bryce really does like to stick to the letter of the law, often to the detriment of the spirit of the game, it could be said. Puts a lot of pressure on him.
Oh, I suppose any game has pressure. I've never done a Super Rugby game, so I wouldn't have a clue what the pressure's like at that level, but apparently best man for the job, so yeah.
If there's a similar situation yet reversed to the Crusaders-Reds game during the year where, of course, Dickinson penalised McCall for infringing at the end there, or apparently infringing at the end there, you wouldn't want to be Bryce to have to make that call, would you?
Correct.
Or not make that call.
Well, exactly. Let it flow.
So there you go. I'm getting a look from the cameraman that tells me he's pretty thirsty, and I've just about finished my pint. So we're going to wrap it up there, and you can all go home and do whatever you do on Friday afternoons. We'll see you same time, same place, different week, with different people next time. See you later.